The occasion that brings us together tonight is the presentation of the book It Happened in Italy. And we are particularly fortunate to have with us Elizabeth Bettina, the author of the book, a book that draws its inspiration, its material, from documented historical facts. We are also fortunate to have with us Ursula Korn-Selig, a witness of some of the things that the book narrates.
Many countries' populations took risks to save their Jewish neighbors, but in Italy, the government and army themselves took those risks, as widely described also in Elizabeth's book. The fact is that, despite consistent pressure from Germany, not one Jew, Italian or non-Italian, was deported from Italy until the Germans assumed direct control at the end of the war. Another powerful example can be the article titled An Army of Schindlers from Italy, written by authoritative journalist Dorothy Rabinovitz and published December 22, 1993 on the Wall Street Journal. Let's hear some passages from it.
In Greece, the Italian consuls and military, witness to the brutal deportations taking place before their eyes, busied themselves handing out phony certificates of Italian nationality to the hunted Jews. Italian officers spirited Jews away to safety on military trains, and as survivors have attested, they undertook in every possible way to cheer them on and assure them of their protection.
When I realized how unfamiliar were the deeds of Giorgio Perlasca, another Italian diplomat stationed in Hungary, and Giovanni Palatucci, the Italian Schindlers in Elizabeth's starting book, a police officer who paid the ultimate sacrifice, heroes who, by taking advantage of their public functions, saved thousands of Jews from the Holocaust, although both have been recognized by the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial as righteous among their nations. Then, encouraged by the most representative associations of Italian Americans, I decided that the whole story needed to be told.
This is Giovanni Palatucci that the Consul General mentioned before. You've all heard of Oskar Schindler. How many of you have heard of Giovanni Palatucci before this evening? Okay. Giovanni Palatucci was also honored by Yad Vashem as a righteous Gentile. I don't decide, I just report. So I'm telling you that he was honored by Yad Vashem for saving 5,000 Jews. He was a police officer in Fiume, northern Italy. He was a questore. And he saved 5,000 Jews by sending some of them out of the country, getting fake documents, or sending some of them to Campania. That bishop next to the rabbi was his uncle. That rabbi was the rabbi of Fiume. Okay? He knew that if he sent people to Campania, to that concentration camp, sotto l'occhio del bishop, under the eyes of the bishop, his lo zio, they'd be okay. Okay? They'd be taken care of. All right? We've never heard of Giovanni Palatucci. Giovanni Palatucci saved 5,000 Jews, think of a bar graph, in a country that deported 8,000. He was a police officer, and police officers are supposed to do what? Obey their orders. And he didn't. He wound up in Dachau because the Germans figured out what he was doing. He wound up in Dachau. And on February 10th, 1945, he died the death of the 5,000 people he saved. He died in Dachau for his good deeds. The one story is prevalent. Many of them say, we got a knock on the door. And Walter Wolf has this in his book. We got a knock on the door. It was the police officer, the local police officer. Domani mattina devo venire a arrestarti. Tomorrow morning I have to come to arrest you. Wink. Meaning, get out of here. Tomorrow, I don't find you. I don't get in trouble. I do. And the German guy who I'm with can't get me in trouble because I did my job.
We were transferred to a bigger town called Città di Castello. And we were transferred by bus and handcuffed. I was, The night before we left, the local priest called me into the church and he said to me, I have a friend in Città di Castello. He's the rector of the seminary. I don't have to tell you, the rector of a seminary is like a school principal in a school where young boys become priests. So after a few days in Città di Castello, I marched myself to this place and I knocked on the door, and the nun opened and she said to me, "See?" Because girls don't go there. And I said to her in Italian, "Vorrei vedere il rettore." So she let me in, and I sat for about good 15 minutes in a parlor, and I began to think, what am I doing here? Why do I come and look for this priest? And in that instant, the side door opened, and the priest walked in. And he said to me, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "No, so." And then he said to me, "Do you have parents?" I said, "Yes, I have parents. We are all here in Città di Castello." And he said to me, "Perché non sei a scuola?" So I answered him, "I'm Jewish. I can't go to school." So he said to me, "Would you like to go to school?" I said, "Yes." He said to me, "Come back next week. I'll speak to the bishop." Came back next week. The bishop arranged that I could go to the high school at the Benedictine convent in Città di Castello. And until 1943, until September 8th, I went to school. And I didn't have to go to the police at noon. They exempted me.